done. So the first thing we need to do is get to work on the brine. The only tricky thing about this recipe is it does need time. A brine is kind of similar to a marinade, where you're getting flavors into the meat, but because it's really heavily seasoned, it also kind of draws out the flavorless moisture and kind of reinserts that beautiful seasoned brine into the meat. Gives it really good texture, holds onto that moisture better, so you're gonna get a juicier pork chop, no matter how you cook it. So to get started on our brine, I've got a big bowl here, and I'm gonna go in with a cup of cold water. Now, this is where we get pretty substantial with our seasoning. So we're gonna go into the here with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Sounds kind of funny, but it's really good. Sweet, pork chop, that molassesy flavor works really, really well. And then this is where I might lose some of you. We're also going in with a 1/4 cup of salt. Yeah, it's a brine. You gotta do a lot. So I'm gonna dump a 1/4 cup of kosher salt right on into there. I know, I was gonna say, ooh, it looks like a lot. But again, most of this just goes down the drain, but you need to season it really well because it is a brine, so it really needs to get into that pork. So I'm gonna give that a little bit of a whisk just to combine. And then I'm gonna season that further with some peppercorns, just about 2 teaspoons of whole peppercorns. That's gonna give a little bit of that spicy flavor, a little bit of smokiness as well. So that's looking beautiful. Now into there, we're gonna go in with some garlic as well. I've got 2 cloves of garlic here. I'm just gonna give those a little bit of a rough chop, just a smash and a chop. You know me, I don't like chopping garlic, but I will do it for a brine. Perfect. That's gonna go right on in. And again, we're not gonna eat that garlic. It's kind of just to perfume this brine, giving it more flavor. Then into there, I'm gonna go in, with a couple of sprigs of sage. This is, again, gonna just perfume that beautiful flavor. You don't have to chop it. Right now, this is a really concentrated brine. We've got a lot of sugar, a lot of salt, so we need a little bit more liquid. And for that, you could do more water, but I'm gonna use my good friend, a can of beer. Yeah. Just a can of lager, always a good thing. I'm going in with about a cup of that, which is always a good thing because then you get this for later. Always good. If you wanted to as well, if you had a can of like hard apple cider in your fridge, that would be beautiful with this. Gonna give that a whisk to combine. And then everything is nice and cold because we are gonna put that raw pork into here. So make sure everything is chilled. So you've got that cold beer, that cold water, and I've got 2 pork chops here. I'm using bone in because again, that's gonna help keep it nice and juicy. And you want them to be nice and thick. So add that in. If you want to, this is enough brine for 4 pork chops. Make sure it's nice and covered. If it's not, you can top it up with a little bit more beer. That's never gonna bug anybody, I'm not gonna lie. All right? Then what you want to do is you want to cover this and you want to pop it in your fridge for at least 4 hours or up to overnight. While that's in the fridge, some magic is going to happen. Like I said, that brine, that salt in that brine is going to kind of draw some of that moisture from the pork out, but it's then going to get replaced with all that flavorful, beautiful brine. So it's going to season the meat, going to make it absolutely beautiful. Once you have that brined, I've got some over here that I've just been sitting on the counter for about 30 minutes. I took it out of the brine. You want to take the chill of the fridge off. I am going to season it with some more salt, even though that brine was salty. Again, most of it's gone away. Gonna go on with a little bit of oil, just right onto the pork. Anytime I'm searing meat, I usually oil the meat rather than the pan. If you oil the pan, that's how you get all that splashing because you use too much oil. This way you have just the perfect amount. So I'm gonna add that pork right into my pan. I've got a pan over medium heat here, and that's gonna be perfect. This is actually feeling a little spicy, but we're gonna get a good sear on it. Let's go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. That pork, I want to let it do its thing for about 6 minutes per side. You want to get good and golden brown over medium heat. If it starts to get too golden brown, just turn it down a little. You want the internal temperature to get to 145. That's going to be perfectly cooked. Absolutely beautiful. So while that does its thing, and before we go to break, I just want to chat the apples and the onion. So for me, I love a Cortland. This time of year, ooh, you can find a Cortland in your grocery store. They are so, so good. A Macintosh would work really well this time of year as well because they're really firm. You could also use a Gala. Gala to me tastes a lot like apple juice, so it'll give a bit more of an apple juice flavor. But if you can find Cortland, definitely go for that. So I'm gonna start, actually no, I'm gonna peel those later because now I do this thing where I don't like peeling it in little pieces. I like one long piece. So I'm gonna see if I can do that over the break. Into nice little wedges, but I also really quickly want to talk about an onion. I've set myself a challenge. It's a good thing. I've got half of a yellow onion here, and I've just peeled it, and I've cut the root and the tip off. And what you want to do for this onion, if you want your onion to hold its shape, rather than cutting it this way into kind of half moons, Here, I'll move my apple so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. You actually want to cut it root to tip. So if you go in from the side, that's going to hold the shape of your onion better. It's going to give you really nice wedges. Just thinly slice that. And I just had to, I'm not the most like showy offy, but like, check that out. Look at how long that apple peel is. Honestly, if I have to go on tippy toes, I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's going down in the Hall of Fame, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so I chopped up 2 apples. You can either dice them or cut them into nice wedges. I went for wedges today. They are gonna break down a little bit and cook down into almost like a saucy consistency. If you wanted them to hold their shape a little bit more, you could put them in a little bit after the onions or even use a firmer apple. Something like a Granny Smith would hold up really nicely. That would be a little more tart though. I really like the Cortlands for their beautiful sweetness. So let's go talk about these pork chops. These have been cooking away, looking absolutely stunning. They smell really, really good. They look absolutely beautiful. Like, look at that golden brown color. You've got that beautiful kind of fond, that cooked on bit on the bottom. So I'm just gonna set those aside and let those rest. And what you want to do is you do not want to waste all of this flavor on the bottom of this pan. So this is what we're going to make our apples in. It's basically a 1-pan dinner, which is always a dream. So into there, just because, yeah, we've got a little oil. There's a little bit of pork fat in there, but I never go wrong with a little bit of butter. So we're going to go in with 2 tablespoons of butter. That's gonna help kind of bring up all of that cooked on deliciousness, but so are the vegetables and the fruit. So the onions and the apples have a good amount of moisture in them, and the moisture is what's gonna kind of shake all of that delicious golden brown stuff off the bottom of the pan and bring it up. So I'm gonna go in with my onions and my apples, and you can hear that little bit of a sizzle. That's what kind of brings everything together. Give that a little bit of a scrape. That's gonna start coming together, but we wanna season this up a little bit. So the first thing I'm gonna go in with is a little bit of mustard. Now, I love mustard. I love a grainy Dijon mustard. Mustard in sauces like this, kind of like a mostarda, a savory applesauce, turns it a little bit more savory, really tasty. So I'm gonna go in with about a tablespoon of grainy Dijon mustard. If you only have smooth Dijon, I would use just a little bit less because it's a little bit punchier. I'm also gonna go in with some sage, just to mimic the flavors we've got going on in that pork. So I've just got some fresh sage, and I'm just gonna chop it up. Now, if you don't have sage, or maybe you're not a big fan, you could do this with rosemary. You could do it with thyme. That would be really beautiful as well. Basically, any sort of woody herb. And the woody herbs are the ones where you don't necessarily eat the stem. Something like basil, that's a softer herb because you can actually eat the stem. Something like rosemary, obviously, little bit woody. So I'm gonna go in with that beautiful sage, just to perfume it up. Season that up with some salt, little bit of pepper as well. And then I don't know about you, but 'tis the season for nutmeg emergencies. So, I don't have a pocket today, but I do have my handy dandy nutmeg pocket to the rescue. So we're gonna grab them out. Got my nutmeg. Add a little bit of that nutmeg right on in. The nutmeg is gonna give a little bit of warmth, a little bit of lemoniness into here. And you just wanna cook that down until those apples cook down, or a little caramelized. See, we're starting to get a little bit of golden brown color on there. I've got some here that I cooked down earlier, looking absolutely beautiful. It's savory, it's wonderful. So now we're gonna plate these up. Now, if you want to, you could slice these pork chops off the bone. Again, I did it bone on, but to be honest, half the fun of a pork chop is like picking up the bone later and pretending you're Fred Flintstone. So we're just gonna go straight onto a platter with those beautiful golden brown, juicy pork chops. Pop that beautiful sauce around the sides or on top, and you are in for an absolute treat. I'm feeling excited. Okay, I've never tried this one on TV. Let's see how juicy we're doing. We're gonna cut, this is buttery smooth, like super soft. You can cut it with a butter knife, which is an absolute dream. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.